On the left hand side of the screen, you're going to see a stand-in for ArtPose Pro. Here I'm working through the app to get a very similar pose that the model gave us at this particular time. You want to remember before beginning gesture drawing that the idea is to draw everything at once. This kind of sounds daunting, but the reason why we're trying to draw everything at once, or rather shifting from place to place, is to give a constant checks and balances of proportions as well as the volume that the body is taking up. Lastly, before the video begins, I want to say that there are two parts to drawing the figure. One is going to be its actual likeness. How does this person look? What is the body positioned at? As well as capturing the emotion. The emotion is going to come from your different techniques that you use to approach the drawing. This is not a photograph, and that doesn't mean anything other than this is a drawing. This is how I see at this moment in time. So this is a 5-minute gesture drawing. In this drawing, the figure, she has her arms relaxed above her head. This is going to influence the motif line, right? So the motif line is the line which moves throughout the entire figure from the top to the very bottom. Typically, that line would start at the head and end at the foot which is closest to you, meaning it is the foot furthest down on our picture plane. Here I worked from the hands and then reworked it from the head, going through the spine, going through the pelvis, and then working my way down on her right foot, right, which is angled across. Something I prefer doing is working with tone first and then deciding when I feel that inspiration or I feel like the figure needs to be carved in, when there's a fold or a crease in the roundness of the figure. Then I'll switch over to using a bunch of line work, or as much as necessary, right? In my experience, there are 3 major points in drawing. There's going to be the 2 ways of gesture drawing and siding. In gesture, you can break it down as using line or tone. You will choose and decide the different combinations of which you utilize these 3 major drawing techniques. When you are building up the form, you want to make sure you have a family of tones, whether you're using contour lines or cross-hatching or even shading. You want to start out light and then slowly build up over time. Even if you're doing a 5, 10, or 15, 30-minute gesture drawing, what is really important is to develop it as you go. I'm not necessarily looking for a fully developed gesture drawing. What I am looking for is correct proportions, seeing that you're working through problems, and that you're constantly actually seeing and observing. This sensitivity is going to allow you to be a better artist, better at drawing people. You're watching the light as it falls on the person, and how do you capture this 3-dimensional figure in front of your eyes, translate that through your brain and all the knowledge that you have about the human body, then take it from that and transfer it through whatever skill set you're bringing to the table. Here I'm working back and forth. I'm starting to develop a sense of edges and curves throughout the body. You see me pressing harder within the figure to develop different tonal shifts, as well as deciding to actually put down lines. Just as I'm giving an emphasis to the tonal shifts and really describing the roundness of the body or different creases in the skin, I'm also deciding to give that same energy and sensitivity to the figure itself when it comes to line. So really pressing down hard whenever I'm feeling like the figure is being pushed back, there's a curve, there's a line there that needs to be carved out, or deciding to give a more sensitive, lighter mark with the tip of the charcoal stick. Working fast in the first minute allows you to slow down in these longer poses or poses beyond that first minute. So you want to win the dance, so to speak, and then begin to pick your moments where you can start to take your time and give detail and attention to things. You want to spend about 90% of the time looking at what you're actually drawing. So in this case, looking at the person, looking at the figure. And 10% of the time you want to look at the actual drawing. This is very relatable to a blind contour drawing. However, when you do shift from one body part to the next, you want to make sure that you're already building off of what you have established on your paper. So don't just jump from the foot to the elbow if there isn't already a path of development that you've created. The benefit of working on different body parts, jumping from one thing to another, is the idea that your proportions will come out more correct. I knowingly am aware that time is running out, so you see me quickly rush the foot in there. And that's a 5-minute gesture drawing from myself on that day. It's not like I'm looking for something that is complete, but rather your understanding of proportions, major landmarks, masses, and how is the body existing in that space. Where is the tension being held? What parts are lighter and relaxed? Where is the light being casted? One thing that I really like to do is work from the pelvis and then make my way either up or down